And hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. So good to see everybody here. I got a great show lined up for you today. I'm Nikki Colon, and I am your host for Sasquatch Secrets. So I got somebody in the House of Secrets tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. I see everybody coming in. I hope you all like the Kark Universal show. Good stuff over there, Brendan. Good job. So I can't even wait. Let's just go ahead and bring on my guest. And I have BumbleBre from Hive Sci. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy you could be here today. And for those of you who don't know, she has a Hive Science, has CryptidCorner Friday nights at 8 p.m. where she explores the world of mysterious monsters, eerie spirits, aliens, unknown animals, which is one of my favorite things is when you do those ones. Creation Watch. You have Science News. It's such a great channel, and your production level is just love it.
Thank you. Here's what I say about CryptidCorner at the beginning of each show, because I think your audience will like CryptidCorner out of all the stuff I do the best. I say it's where we explore the unexplained, the supernatural, paranormal, and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. So anything that falls under that category, I'm going to look into on that show. We do spend a lot of time squatching, though. I'm not going to lie. It's one of my favorite topics. So I'm so happy to be invited on here.
Oh, I'm excited too. And I love all your talking. You love sharks, and I love shark stuff. So every time you do any of those big, weird, ocean shark stuff, I don't know. I love that.
Yeah, the megalodons and people can't get enough megalodons. Goblin sharks and all kinds of good stuff.
They're there. We'll see. Let me take a quick look at the chat to see what we've got going. We've got about 21 in the house already. Yay! I don't even know if I can scroll all the way up there. Yeah, I can. So Val was in the house first. Hello, Val. Good to see you. And then Uncle Bones, I'm sure he was on a race. Who could be in first? Sharon, good to see you. Robert, good evening. So formal. Angel Nolan, good to see you. Who else do we've got here? Donald, I see you. And I'm sure we're going to be getting more and more people in as they come along. I see a Grasshopper dropping in down there.
Sandra, did you say Sandra? I always love Sandra. She's always a sweetheart.
I don't ever want to miss Sandra. She's long time follower. I appreciate her so much. Grasshopper. Oh no, I hit the wrong one here. Even all you fellow crypto weirdos. Yes, we are crypto weirdos for sure.
As weird as they come. Give me my pink hair sitting up here. The weirdest of the weird. And Nikki's got her full moon in the background.
Oh yes, I do. Well, we're getting to my. Here's her channel. Go right now. Sub that channel. I'm telling you, you have to go over there. All her links, everything's going to be down in the description. You guys can will be able to find that pretty easy. But it's Happy Squatchoween. We are in the final week of Squatchoween, everybody. And we'll be talking about next week's show near the end of this. So hold on to your hats for that. But it's time to decorate. And I know my whole neighborhood has already started to deck out their houses for Halloween. And I tend to wait till the last week because I don't want to get my stuff stolen. I'm kind of funky about when I have all my stuff out there, I have like a full-size coffin. And I don't know if anybody could really steal that or not because it's really heavy. But I've got an electric chair, it's like a full-size electric chair that I've set up. It makes noise and all kinds of stuff.
So you like do like a full haunt, huh?
Oh
like
yeah, I do the full haunt out there in the front, and everybody loves it. But now everybody's moved in here. I'm in a relatively new neighborhood, so people are finally decorating, and all the kids are coming out. So I should be safe now with my stuff out there. So hopefully that'll all turn out good, and then we can talk about Squatchtober next week. So today I wanted to bring you on to talk about the cryptids, and I wanted to know your opinion on them. And there's a lot of them. Okay, there's a lot of stuff out there, and we're gonna go just kind of step by step. A lot of people have already heard me and my stance on a lot of these cryptid characters that we have out there, but it'll be fun to go through it and hear your opinions and what kind
I'm ready for it. Let's do it.
Do it then. Hope everybody's doing good. So I'm going to try to keep my eye on that chat. If you have questions or anything for me or Bree, please put those in caps so that I can find it. I'm a one-woman production crew here. So
I often have to remind my people of that too. Like I'll do like every now and then I'll do about a minute and a half of muted content that just is just me talking
like
talking. Yeah, well, every Saturday there's not every Saturday, but a lot of Saturdays there's going to be.
Yeah, I sent you a message. So. You're muted. You're muted. Everybody was trying to get your attention, but
yeah, I've complained into the wind about this. So the system I use, it's why I have such a high production value, is Streamlabs, right? But Streamlabs doesn't have like the red lights that tell you that, hey, this is on, this is hot at all, which is so annoying. If you've ever done any kind of like production school or anything.
No, I haven't. No. Yeah, I've learned as I'm going. I'm just learning as I'm going, and I do want to get OBS and get Streamlabs. I've got a Stream Deck here too, so that helps me out. But anyway,
I would love to help you get going on production. Just I know what it's like to run all your own stuff. So
yeah,
girl, I get it.
You guys will see production when you go over and take a look at Bree's shows over there. They're amazing.
Thank you.
So here we go. We're going to start with my number one and your guys' number one, of course, Bigfoot, Sasquatch.
Okay.
Yeti.
Oh,
skunk, ape.
I'm gonna make your whole chat hate me by saying I don't think that there's anything modern that resembles this that exists in North America. I think that we have that we may have folk memories of things that look like this that imprint upon us experiencing some phenomenon in the woods. I'm not saying that there's not something. I just don't know if it's bears. There's something that triggers our brain.
Misidentification. You think it could be misidentification? Well, a lot of people do think that.
Actual people living in wild people, like actually living off the grid, you know, with dressed in furs and stuff, things like that. But and there's different categories of plausibility too. For me, like the Orangapindek, I don't think that that it's out of the possibility that there's some kind of more terrestrial pongid, which is the orangutan family, running around somewhere in Southeast Asia. The geography fits, the characteristics we know that apes can be biped. I mean, we're descendant from biped apes ourselves, so we know that's possible.
And hence, that's why I believe they, as a huge possibility, they do exist, because of that whole primate lineage that we have going on and the process of evolution. I do not think they actually descended from Gigantopithecus. I don't.
Yeah.
I think they have their own ladder in the rung of life. I don't know exactly where that falls, But I do think that with all the sightings that have happened in regards to Bigfoot, and knowing people personally who have had sightings that I trust, that I'm on that believer side of Bigfoot existing in North America.
So, and as far as North America goes, the sightings that I always find the most that make me go are the ones that people just see something running across the road. That's the kind of sightings you would expect for something to actually exist. Right. And when you hear that is, or even like that you're going down the road, you see something off in a field or something like that, just like your average person. But when you get someone like, I'm not going to call people's names out, but they're,
why not? That's what my show is all about.
Yeah. Well, it's like Sylvanic Bigfoot, like Todd Standing and people like that who make a career out of having sightings.
Yes.
I don't buy that for a bit, and I think that funks up the real phenomena.
It does.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of my show, is that I just bring up over and over the things that people need to know in regards to hoaxers, red flags, and trying to make an educated guess or help you to decide or discern what's real and what's not real. Now, yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff out there we don't know if it's real or not real, and that's fine. But so many times, many of us have found, the hoaxes. We've determined they're hoaxes. We found the receipts that go and destroy anything credible in regards to a lot of these videos and pictures that are out there. And that's hence where my show came from, is just showing people, look, drop that picture into Google Images and see how many, articles come up about the fraud. So it's so easy. And I just want people to learn that, and to make a little bit better choices and not to ignore the red flags, for sure. What we got, what do the Bigfoot people have? We have the Patterson-Gimlin footage, which is just celebrated its 56th anniversary. Can you believe that, folks? 56 years.
I was quote tweeting that earlier this week, the day before, I think it was. I said, tomorrow's the anniversary. This footage is still, it's one of the things that make you go, because there's a lot to it.
It has stood up to time, for sure. It's the best we've got, in my opinion. I'm still only about 75 or 80% that it's real. I have issues, my own issues, in regards to that film and the way it looks and certain things about it that I just don't, I get a funny feeling about. Red flag, right? One of my red flags. But that's okay. People can say it's 100% real. You can say that. Anybody can say whatever you want, because it has been the thing that we've held up onto a pedestal for all these years. And people have analyzed it and tore it apart and measured the arms and did all kinds of stuff. So, and it is what it is. So that's fine. If you 100% believe that this is a Bigfoot, then that's your Bigfoot. I don't believe in some of the new photos that are coming out in regards to the face and its features. I think that's all AI generated crap that is coming out, because there's, as one Michael Merchant would say, there is not enough information in that original photo to pull out a lot of defining.
That's part of the charm of it, though, right? The whole thing, every aspect of this has been analyzed so much, because there's so much going on here,
right,
with the time frame that it was taken, and and the media it was taken on, and how long it
Right.
is, how short it is, the rest of the video, what the intention was when they went out there. All these things factors in, especially them titties. I gotta say,
Right,
that's
right.
just
Who
because
would
that's
have
not
put
expected.
it?
Yeah.
Wasn't, especially during that time. And we've
Mhm.
always talked about how a suit like that could not have been made in that time frame. The best we had was Planet of the Apes, and those were really sucky. You know, if you look at them now to then,
Mhm.
those rubber faces, and this didn't look like that. Of course, it didn't. But still,
There's
what it is.
and there's so many, you see so many videos, people trying to replicate this, and people trying to come up with their own suits that look ridiculous. I've seen
Right.
some terrible looking suits that I almost, if that
I
if
can pull you up some of those horrible suits here. Let me
yeah,
find.
you got them on hand. They're that
I should
popular.
have
You can
them on
maybe
hand. I don't
rent.
know if I do have it on hand. What one was it, guys? It was oh my God, it was this one. I had to rename it because all we did was talk about was the Patterson Gimlin. So there's Bob Hieronymus. That was who they
Claim to
claim
be,
was in the suit. He
yeah.
claimed he was in it. And then there was one of those remake suits. Yeah, it's horrible. It is way wrong. And all of see those feet. That's what I hate. Those feet right there. I I don't know why. It just the white
the white on the bottom of the
bottom,
feet. Yeah.
thick bottom, and there's people tell me all kinds of things. Well, it's because of this. It's, the it could be the
The
limestone. It could be it just is padded on the bottom, and that's how it supports his weight. And I've heard all of that. I still don't like it. I just don't think
yeah.
that looks like a foot for the terrain. It just looks like it's a slipper. Looks like the
What
bottom of
about
my slippers over there. Seriously.
what about what about the gait? Because I'm sure you have some opinions on the gait, right?
Well, they say that it has this weird walk gait that goes from swings in front from so that it's going in a straight line, and that knee is bent consistently, and it raises its uh, leg up in this 90-degree type of angle. Who knows? I don't
Well,
know, and I
well,
don't
I'm
know.
thinking like if you look at Mr. Hieronymus here, he doesn't got much of a booty, but
Right.
our Squatch definitely has some booty on it. So I don't
Some
know how that would
booty.
affect the way he would walk too. That's
Yeah.
missing from the other suits too, because they go with like if you look at all the other suits, they're kind of like the King Kong suit from the old Godzilla movies,
Right.
right? There
Right.
you go,
There's
Planet of the
Planet of the
Apes, yeah.
Apes for you. And
Uh-huh.
there's your boobies.
There's some primate boobs, yeah.
There's a picture I was referring to about them using
Mm.
an AI to upscale the photo. That photo, the original Patty photo, does not look anything like what they generated to me.
I don't
Nothing.
like what they've done with the eyes here at all.
Yeah.
They're way too big,
So,
right?
and it's a topic, everybody's talking about
Mm.
it, and they don't know how they got to this point. They don't know all of the different. Oh God, is Brent in the house? How many different, like 12 different. Todd Gateway is the one who created that photo on the right there, and he used several different programs to create that, and he wasn't even an expert at it to boot. So it's not, that photo
Mm.
didn't come from that other one. It added stuff, and it changed it to look more. 12 to 15, thanks Brent. 12 to 15 programs, and he didn't know where it came from. So
Okay, well, I think the eyes are too big,
oops.
but that's my opinion.
Okay, I think that was it for this.
Oh, no.
This
Well, so is Yeti a different? Are we talking about Yeti as is a whole different animal?
It's the same. It's just a different continent. You know, in my eyes, it's different. Only by geography.
I have a different ID for the Yeti. I think the Yeti is definitely a bear. I would put I'd put money on Yeti being a species of bear that maybe walking on its hind legs more often than other species of bear. I think that was what Shipton's final verdict too.
This was another suit that was actually created to kind of look like the PNG suit.
They gave it some booty.
Yeah, they gave that one some booty, and but okay, well,
still looks like a it still looks like a guy in a ninja costume, though. Really, like a husky guy.
Looks like fur, and my belief is that they don't have fur; they have hair, and it would look different. You know, that's just where I go with that.
Could you when it comes to apes, primates in general, they spend a great deal of time grooming. I wonder if they have little grooming circles.
Ooh, good. You know what? I don't think we've ever had a conversation about grooming. I don't think I have.
Yeah. Like what? Wonder what they would maybe use like a pine cone or something as a comb.
They'll be making their own, out of the sharp branches and stuff like that. Probably. I don't know. There have been people saying that they saw stuff hanging from Patty's hair, you know, braiding and stuff like that. A lot
of characters or characteristics of sightings. They mentioned stuff hanging in the hair and being matted and gross, especially the more southern style Bigfoot, which I was talking to you before about, which is Momo, which happened just 30 miles down the river from here in a little town called Louisiana. Now, nowadays, in the middle of Louisiana, there's this hill, this park. All the parks, all the little towns that are along the river have their parks on the riverfront. Right. Because when they have a park up on the hilltop, it's called Marzoff Hill. And that's where people said that Momo lived all those years ago up on that hill, and now it's in the middle of town. Right. So he couldn't come back if he wanted to. But I've only ever been there once.
But as far if Bigfoot exists, are you on the stance that it is flesh and blood? And
yes. That it would be an animal, a really well adapted. If I had to classify Bigfoot, I'm putting it in as a hominid, which is going to be closer related to us than to other apes. And I'd probably put it actually in the genus Homo, which would put it closer to us than Australopithecines, which is what you see on the far left here. So I think it would be maybe branched off somewhere between Australopithecine and Homo habilis, because we don't see much, or if any, non-standard tool use. That's tool use that we see in other primates. So I would wager that if it was a species that would have branched off at that point, maybe as other species, the hominids, expanded into the open plains area, this species would have left, because it would have also been evolved to walk bipedal like us for open lands. But as we moved into as Homo sapiens moved into the area, pushed them off into mountain valleys and deep forest, where they could thrive with less competition directly with us and live like an omnivore, like a bear. But because of their ongoing conflict with us as their close relatives and filling a similar ecological niche, they tend to avoid us. And at some point during the last glacial maximum, but somewhere before 11,000 years ago. The migration of them may have made it across the Bering Strait. There may have been multiple migrations across the Bering Strait, which would explain, we could think of it like timber wolves and red wolves, that the first migration could be the southern subspecies or whatever that's not quite as big and kind of shaggier, and like skunk apes and stuff like that. And then a second migration might have been of the larger, more Yeti-like Sasquatch that's seen basically across the northern hemisphere. And they just have such a low population density and live in such isolated regions that we just never see them for whatever reason, or see them so rarely that they become folklore. I would love for Bigfoot to be real. I'm not like anti-Bigfoot. I spent decades believing. It's only within the last 5 years or so that I've been starting to be like, you know what? And it's actually people like you and Pat who kind of keep pushing me that way too, to say, you know what? Because everything that comes forward is like, no, that's BS. Everything, it seems like you all crack everything open and say, hey, this is all bull, and I have to be like, yeah, you're right. And I've been doing that for the last 5 years. You know, Thinker Thunker used to be a channel like that would actually look at stuff and say, this is BS, this is BS.
In the beginning,
and at some point he just flipped and decided to say, you know what, everything's real. It's all Bigfoot. And it's like, okay.
Right.
I agree with that. The Washington tape that he's harping on doesn't look any better than the train tape. And he's like, oh no, the Washington tape is so much better. And it's like, no, it's not. It's really not.
Yeah, you can't argue with him. So he'll just argue back, and it gets to be a big old mess. I learned to finally ignore him a long time ago, and hence I don't really even speak his name here in the channel.
Yeah, well, I wasn't trying to stir things up, but if you're going to bring up the Bigfoot, I have to talk about basically what is it, the top mainstream channel that covers Bigfoot topics, which is Thinker Thunker, or Todd Standing again, Sylvanic Bigfoot. So I'm familiar with all of that.
You'll have to give that a. That's a big ew.
Oh, you got a soundboard, sweetie. Awesome. Yeah, it's just gross, right?
Yeah, it is. And
because
what are you gonna do?
Yeah, but
what do I have next?
I don't know. I watch Todd Standing's content, and half of it is him running through the woods in a ghillie suit, and it's like, okay.
Yes, yeah. Actually, we're gonna bring up Todd Standing a little bit later in the show, so you guys have that to look up too. And I'm gonna skip this.
Wow, we spent the first half an hour on Bigfoot alone.
Oh my God, we're never gonna get to the other ones. This always happens to me. Yeah, we won't even go into that. Some people believe in the woo part, and they believe in the Nephilim. That is part of the Bigfoot.
I'm a naturalist. I keep popping off screen. Sorry, I am a naturalist, so I don't believe in the supernatural. So if any cryptid is real, it's going to have a natural explanation for me. That's just my opinion.
Now I love you even more. Yeah. Now I love you even more. So let's move on. Let's move on from Bigfoot. We gave that a good go around, because here's another one. Dogman. Oh my gosh. Now, I am a zero Dogman believer.
I do not believe in Dogman at all. I think that it's probably bears, but in my scenario that I laid out a moment ago about the evolution of Bigfoot and how it could have migrated, there's a condition in male primates called prognathism, where the males will have a bigger, longer muzzle area than the females, and generally have bigger canines in their muzzle to defend their territory from other males and threat displays and things like that, and to protect the females that live in their territory, where the females don't have so much of a prognathic condition, right? So I postulate that in that model, where Bigfoot migrated from across Beringia in the last glaciation, that the second wave species doesn't have this condition as bad as the eastern species that was the first wave migration, And in that migration, there's a vast difference between the facial structure when the males develop from the females. That would be my speculation on what a dog man is. Other than that, I think it's you'd have to be something supernatural beyond that. What else could it be?
I misidentification. I just think it's all misidentification. It could just be a Bigfoot, because I can make sense out of a lineage of a Bigfoot, but I just can't do a dog and a man. I can't do that. It doesn't make sense to me. And it
be like some mad science, right? Like a mutant.
Yeah, right. Now, you know, you have lineages of werewolves and stuff in the old country, you know, where they have that wrought into their whole background and history. But I just don't do the dog man, and there's a lot of reasons I don't. But even in dog man, there are things that have come up, hoaxes, okay? And the number one dog man hoax
Gable footage
was the Gable film. And of course, I do have that if we want to, let me pull that up. For those of you who don't know what the Gable film is, I'm going to bring that up if I can find it. Let's see. I have so many things up right now.
The Gable footage, yes. That takes me way back. Monster Quest days. Yeah.
Yes. And
yeah.
I'm dropping all my shits. Hold on.
Run on all fours in a ghillie suit at the camera, would you?
Here we go. I got it. So this is the stabilized version. There's a longer 3.5 minute video out there on YouTube. If you guys want to go search that, just look the Gable film and it'll come up and it'll show the whole point of the film. So this was done by Micah Grusa. He claimed that he created the film as a prank. Okay, originally it was said to have been oops. I'll run that one more time.
You're a Tenacious D fan? Woo!
Did you see that?
Yes.
Yes, I am. So in the 70s, it was found footage, blah, 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 but he made the whole damn thing up. And it was when Monster Quest had decided to come in and do an episode on this film, and they played it all up. They did find, boy, you see all the people I listen to constantly.
And some dog bin too.
Yeah.
So as far as I know, when it comes to the Gable footage or the Gable film, that when Monster Quest used it, the guy who made it explained to him that it was, from what he said, explained to him how it was made.
By the end, but before the final episode, because it was like a series that was being done, and before that final episode was going to air, they knew, but they still played it. They still wanted the whole. They wanted to play it off as like, we've discovered, you know.
Yeah,
during our investigation.
Something we found. Yeah,
it played off. Of course, they would do that. So
I was talking about ghost shows. I want to, because I'm like doing October, so ghost stuff comes up anyway. But I was talking about ghost shows recently in EVPs. They have to find something sometimes. If they never find anything ever, people will stop watching. Right? Is this the episode where they're going to find something? It's kind of the deal. So, you know, do they go into the haunted house and find some EVPs this time? Sure. Next time, maybe they don't find anything, and they say, we don't know for sure. Same thing with the finding Bigfoot stuff with those guys going out. And Monster Quest was exactly the same. They made a big deal about the episode where they found the Greenland shark in the St. Lawrence River. And they weren't even the ones who found it. They act like, oh, we found it. They heard about the Greenland shark in the St. Lawrence River and then went and did an episode on it like they discovered it. It's kind of like, come on, guys.
It's all about the entertainment. on a lot of this stuff, especially the
Mm-hmm.
shows. It's all entertainment, Bigfoot expeditions and finding Bigfoot, all that stuff. It's all about the views and, getting
Mm-hmm.
people to watch the shows. And
Mm-hmm.
so you can't really rely on any of those. Just watch them for the fun of it. I just watch it for the fun of it and for the pure entertainment, and you're good.
Mm-hmm.
So also with the whole Dogman thing, it got very popular when the Bray Road, the Beast
Linda
of Bray Road,
Gottfried. Yeah.
yeah, Linda Gottfried stuff came out, and she did a series of articles for her local paper there, and my husband sneezed, and I lost my train of thought.
Well, you could, I like in this situation, like I
Um,
would love to go on a road trip down Bray Road and look for the Beast
yeah,
of Bray Road just for fun. But I don't. Do I think there was actually ever a werewolf-like creature roaming the countryside? No, I don't. Was there something? Definitely, something weird was going on.
well, there's
Yeah.
a lot of accounts in that area,
Mhm.
and so they were witnessing a large, something between 6 foot and 7 foot tall, with a
Mhm.
humanoid style body covered in fur and hair, with a head resembling a wolf or bear. It was
Yep.
reported to have been seen quadruped and bipedal, and looked like a traditional werewolf or Bigfoot.
Prognathism. We're one of the
So,
few apes that doesn't happen to. Most apes that there is that variation when they grow up. We keep it. We have a condition called neoteny, where our lower part of our face stays small like a baby's instead of
didn't know that.
growing out.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool. See, learning
Yep.
things every day, people, every day.
Yep. I'm bringing the science.
Bringing the sun. That's why she's here.
All right. What do we
So,
got next?
what do we got next? I don't know.
A
Chupacabra.
chupacabra.
We
Okay.
got
So
the.
there's two.
Go ahead.
There's two chupacabras, aren't there? There's the Puerto Rican weird spiny devil guy, and then there's
Right.
the hairless dog of Texas in the southwestern
That
United
one.
States. Yes,
Yeah.
which are
Yeah. Yeah. That's
the
Phyllis
first one.
Cannon.
The
Go ahead.
first one is more interesting, but this one's real. This one's real. These exist. Not they come in different form. They come in. There's a type with hands too. They can like grab stuff and manipulate
Ooh,
stuff. And then there's
I didn't
ones that
grab
are like
that one.
there's big ones and little
These
ones
ones are
like
scary.
that. Yeah.
These ones are scary, and it all came
Yeah.
from that Puerto Rico incident of all those goats and chickens being killed out there, and the
Yeah.
stories just got fed into, and it wasn't that far back either. It wasn't like something from the 1800s or anything like that. It's just something that evolved, and the descriptions, I think, got a little carried away there. But yeah, that one's definitely a scary one. Of course, we did have this one in 2007, and it happened on Canyon. Phyllis Canyon found this dead on her ranch near Cuero, Texas. Since it's been a while, so they had the DNA studied at 5 different universities. They did discover that the animal was a hybrid, a coyote on the maternal side and a Mexican wolf on the paternal side, and it was manged and diseased. So it was a sick animal.
Here I got one to show you too. Show you what I was talking about. This is the one with the hands. Let me share my screen. You got 1,000 things going on. I'm gonna make you do one more.
Do it.
There you go.
Let me pull this one down. Okay, here we go.
All right, so
yeah,
and this one looks awful cute right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a raccoon with
raccoon.
mange or some other similar disease.
Yeah,
poor little guy. But it's coyotes. Yeah, like she said, dogs, wolves, and coyote hybrids of one type or the other. Raccoons and foxes that generally are reported as chupacabras, and they go after livestock because they're their condition makes it so they're not capable of chasing after their regular. Well, for the canid ones, for the raccoons, they're just in the dumpster like any other raccoon is, and people see them and freak out.
It's so sad for that little guy there, and it happens a lot. I mean, it's not something that's not known. It is known, and of course, who would think, that's a raccoon? Who would initially believe that? Oh, because it looks so different.
Nope, no mask, no ringtails, no tail rings, no nothing. Yeah.
So it makes sense that there's a lot of misidentification on some animals out there, especially if you're scared. If you walk into something like that, you're like, oh my God, Of course, that was a small animal. Not likely.
But imagine that I've seen bears like that too. Bears with that condition, and it's a large dog or a large feral dog that has that condition. It could be very scary looking. Bears look weird, look like naked people, kind of.
Oh, I know. Their skin is so weird looking, and so that was the chupacabra, the goat sucker, and they're said to be all over the Southwest. So I've got here. I'm gonna find chupacabra. Also, something that's been coming up, and I've mentioned this on the show before, is that the jaguars are coming back. They're coming back to the Southwest. So they're coming up on all the game cams that are around, and it's kind of disconcerting. You're gonna be out and about and know that there's a cat like that.
So of all the big cats, jaguars have the best reputation for not attacking humans.
Oh,
and
nice.
And when they do attack humans, unlike the rest of the big cats, which will go through your throat and like suffocate you to death,
lions,
a jaguar will kindly puncture the back of your skull with its big fangs and put you out of your misery like that. So they are.
That doesn't help. Oh my God, that's like Brent talking about the Mexican grizzly bears. Before I went out camping, he was trying to convince me there was Mexican grizzly bears.
I think they're rare though, aren't they? Are the Mexican grizzlies?
They're gone. Exist? They don't exist anymore. As far as I know, they do not exist anymore.
It'd be cool if you found one. Well, in some respects.
Yeah. In some respects. Let's move on. We've got Loch Ness. What do you think of Lockie there? Nessie?
I think the Loch Ness monster is a hoax. I think that it's maybe based on just lake monster folklore that's prevalent across the northern UK and northern Europe in general. That there's lake monster folklore that was built on in the modern day. And this picture right here, the surgeon's photo, which he wasn't a surgeon, he was a dentist, but it became known as the surgeon's photo for whatever reason. Now known to have been a hoax, was kind of what set off the Loch Ness monster fever. This wasn't the first sighting though. There was a guy riding a motorcycle, right? And he was riding his motorcycle. He's a veterinary student, riding his motorcycle at night, and he sees this thing squirming across the road in front of his motorcycle. And he doesn't know what it is. It says it had a long neck. It stuck its neck up and looked at him as it was crossing the road. He didn't know what it was. Veterinary student. Pretty convincing sighting when you cite someone who with those kind of credentials. But the knowledge that we have now that there are seals in Loch Ness. We have like photos and videos now that seals visit the loch seasonally. And his description of something wallering across the road and sticking up its long neck and looking at him it just describes a seal. You wouldn't expect to see a seal that far inland. His brain wasn't ready to see a seal, but he didn't know what he was looking at, right? But the sighting coupled with the plesiosaur from King Kong, from the King Kong movie that came out just like a couple of years before all this hit the fan, right? It featured a plesiosaur, and it stuck in the people's minds. So slowly, this blob crossing the road became a plesiosaur and has been one ever since. But that's really one of the very few sightings that you actually have of the creature on land, and it was one of the first.
Right.
Yeah.
So, there was also a lot of hoaxes. I have to bring up the hoaxes about this. So, in 2004, a 5 TV documentary team using cinematic special effects expert tried to convince people that there was something in the lock. They constructed this animatronic model of a plesiosaur, and they called it Lucy. And they had 600 sightings reported from Lucy. Now, Lucy did fall to the bottom of the lock, did sink. I don't know if they ever got it back or not. I would hope so, because that would definitely show
The lock
on the radar.
Is so deep, and the walls are so sheer, like just goes straight down, right? You don't have there's hardly any bank or anything to it. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's gone forever if it sank down. The structure of the lake, it's a glacier lake, so it was like it's like up in the highlands, but it's filled with like water from a glacier that's never been close to the equator, right? It's always been up in the Nearctic region, so it's never had any kind of exposure to any kind of warmth. So it's this deep, dark, cold lake. Reptiles like plesiosaurs, just they couldn't thrive in that condition. You look at something like the largest marine reptile today, the leatherback sea turtle, right? They can go pretty far into the northern waters, but they need to return back towards the equator seasonally because it gets too cold in those Nearctic waters. You wouldn't expect a large marine reptile to be able to survive in a relatively small lake over even one season, yet alone centuries.
Right.
Just my opinion, but one thing. If and I'll do the same thing I did with the Bigfoot. If something that existed in the lake that was actually being sighted, the only thing that I can think of would be some kind of giant annelid, like a giant worm or leech that was
eels,
able to.
Right? Didn't they say there was some eels over there or something? But I don't.
Yeah, there's been people who suggested conger eels and sturgeon and stuff. My preferred idea is because it needs to be something that can survive down in the poor oxygen low regions of the water without having the surface to breathe, and it needs to be able to survive for long periods without food. So there's a lot of factors that would come into play for something that would be to be real. It would have to be, in my opinion, organisms are split between like animals are split between but basically between deuterostomes and proterostomes. There's some more, but deuterostomes are like us, but protostomes like insects and mollusks, like octopuses, worms, and invertebrates, bug, insects, arachnids, those sorts of things. And they have different ecological demands that they need to thrive in an environment, to grow big in an environment. The only organisms I know that can thrive and grow big in an environment that's like a benthic zone like that would be an annelid, some kind of or a cephalopod. But I doubt a cephalopod's going to get that big in fresh water.
Well, they claim to see these things in all large bodies of water. It's not just the lock, but oops, now it won't change. There's Caddy, which was thought to be a cat. Where was this at? In the Pacific coast of North America, in Cadborough Bay, Greater Victoria, British Columbia. And of course, back then they didn't know how to, I don't think, run the specific type of tests we could do now, but it could have well been an oarfish for all we know that had pulled up, because we do know they get quite big, and who knows what the old sailors were really seeing in the oceans and claiming to have seen. We
And it
don't.
really does look like, to me, in my opinion, it looks like a dolphin skeleton, like a maybe like a
That one.
Baird's beaked whale, something like that.
It looks
That's
really
what I
weird.
would think. But
It's
the way that organisms decay is kind of funny. Like everybody knows the famous Japanese sea serpent trawler photo, right? Where they pulled up
right.
it's a basking shark, and they tested it. It's a
Right.
basking shark. Everybody knows it's a basking shark, except for the young Earth creationists who insist it's a living plesiosaur. But we're not going to drag them into this conversation. I want to say that this is not the same thing, what we're looking at here, because the structure of the spine. That's why I think it's a whale, or a dolphin. But I think a whale. But it's crazy how
the
way
picture's
something
old.
Yeah.
It's really old. It's grainy. You know, you aren't being able to look at a decent photo. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but I do think it's something they know. It's not something unknown at that point.
Yeah, I guess there's just certain markers I look for in a fish skeleton, like long, thin ribs, vertical ribs, and things like that. I'm not seeing here, but that's why I don't think it's an oarfish. I'm not saying it's definitely not an oarfish. It could be, but the head.
Oh yeah, I also had what was the other example I had used? I don't know, something else I had. This was just a pulled. Example that there's big things out there that are weird. I think
these are definitely responsible for some of the sea serpent sightings, at least for some of the historical records of sea serpents washing up on the shore and things like that. I have little doubt that oarfish play a role in that, and other big creatures that wash up on shore too, like giant squids and things like that.
These are so weird when they sleep or whatever. They do it vertically.
Yeah.
And they're just like, it's so weird. I think that's so weird.
So wild behavior and it's got to look weird to see something like that. But, oh boy, here's
the Mothman. We finally got to Mothman.
I'm so bitter at my son.
I have not talked about Mothman, so this will be new for me. It's like I don't know.
About a month ago, my son went to Point Pleasant, right? And got to see the Mothman statue and all the Mothman stuff. I was so bitter at him. I was like, because I really wanted to go. But when it comes to the Mothman of Point Pleasant, okay, here's my thoughts on it. And I actually have I spill the beans. I have like a documentary in the making about it, right? I just I've switched. I've had to because of some things. I've had to switch my my guest and who I'm going to have on to talk about it. But to spill the beans about some of the concepts that I'm going to discuss, the main thing is going to be infrasound, which I think that was evident based on reports, evident that there was some sort of infrasound interference, maybe in the Point Pleasant region at this time. I don't know why. I don't know if it was concentrated in the TNT area, if it was the structure of the buildings, if somebody kicked a rock the wrong way and set it infrasound off. I don't know, or set the infrasound off, but it makes people feel uncomfortable. And it happens all the time. It can happen in your own home. We don't know, because we can't hear it, but if something hits together and makes a sound in the right frequency, that it triggers us. It goes way back to our primal brain, right? That things that make this sound are scary, because it matches. We make full circle back to the jaguars, because it matches the frequency of a big cat's roar, which was our main predator as we were evolving in Africa. Just food for thought, right? So now we have this.
Just so anybody out there who hasn't heard of the Mothman, okay? I'm not saying you're under a rock. I'm just saying if you haven't heard, this is in West Virginia folklore, okay? The Mothman was a humanoid creature reportedly seen in Point Pleasant area November 15th, 1966, from around that time era right there to about 67. It has been seen as a source of for things happening. Every time something bad that was going to happen, they had seen the Mothman. And of course, John Keel in 1975 made a book, The Mothman Prophecies, which also gave a huge boost to that legend. So
and then in was it 2000 or 19? Was it in the late 90s, early 2000s when that movie came out and the adaptation came out with Richard Gere?
Richard Gere, right? That's who it was.
And it gave another boost to the folklore and people's interest in the folklore.
Bye, Mrs. Dill. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Good night. Oh, so that feeds right into the folklore in the area, because there was also this legend of a curse on the land, the curse of Chief Cornstalk, that comes into play. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Native American curse that's linked to Mothman. Yeah, it's so it goes back a little bit, like a little ways to the colonization period. So, in broken promises to native tribes and such. I don't know. We'll have to break it down in further detail. We could do a whole episode on Mothman.
On Mothman alone. I don't know much about Mothman other than the traditional thing that's always, brought up, or the movie, of course.
So this guy right here is a barn owl. That's the sightings of Mothman really do match with a barn owl sitting on a stump or something doing a threat posture, because it's protecting its nest or its babies. Doing this thing with its wings, stump or fence post to raise it up off the ground. That's what the sightings of Mothman really look like to me. I can't unsee it. It's the exact same pose and everything. And once you see an owl doing it, you want to see an owl doing it? Let me see.
In my world, I took note that they always said that the source of the legend was, or had originated from sightings of possible migration of cranes or herrings in the area.
The sandhill crane, yeah.
Yeah, sandhill, that was the...
Yeah, because they got the red heads and it's got the red eyes. But, take from it what you will. This is what the owl looks like when it does its threat pose. And at night, owl's eyes reflect red. So you see something like that.
Exactly like that. Yeah.
There's other cryptids that I lumped together with the Mothman. There's one called the what is it called? It's got a big head like this. It's the Flatwood Monster. That's another one. Big red eyes.
Monster. Wow.
Yes. Looks very much like this. But yes, this is our Mothman. In my opinion, this is what people are seeing. So take from it what you will.
Wow. Yeah, large birds with red eyes. That's what this just said. So, and there's all kinds of festivals, and they really are making it a whole tourist thing over there. So that would be cool to get a picture next to.
It's so funny how these little towns will put together festivals and stuff to commemorate their local monsters. And you got some weirdies out there. You got the Loveland Frogs. You got the the Lizard Man of Skateboard Swamp. You got the Beast. The Beast of Busco is a giant snapping turtle that lives in a little lake. It's just named Oscar, and they have a turtle festival every year there. It's in Ohio. There's all these little towns in middle of nowhere in the Midwest will have their own localized monster. Like I said, the little town down the road from me has the Momo, Missouri monster. So
yeah,
they're everywhere and anywhere.
I'm gonna go visit BumbleBre, and I'm gonna go search for the Momo.
Yes, we're gonna go find Momo. It's gonna be like a Scooby-Doo episode with us with our flashlights.
It's gonna be hilarious. Get down, cat.
Actually, they've got hills all got like nice paved paths and stuff. We'll have it just, it'll just be like a nice walk. Yeah.
Even better.
I know you hiked when you were up in Washington recently.
Yeah.
So,
that was fun.
Not to say
that
you
was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
that was great. My recent trip up to the mountains here next to me was a little bit harder because I had not taken into consideration the elevation, and I was at over 8,500 elevation there. So my lungs are screaming. Lungs are screaming, no inhaler. I didn't think I was going to make it. I did. I made the best of it. By the second and third day, I was feeling way better. It was that initial day that I had gotten there that I think I may have had a little bit of elevation sickness because it was not that fun. How can you mistake a bird for anything but a big bird?
Well, when they first reported the Mothman, it was reported as the Birdman. The newspaper switched to Mothman because there was a Batman villain in Mothman they were trying to get to sell papers with by changing the name. But it was called the Birdman at first. You look at the very first newspaper reportings from Point Pleasant about it. They're like, oh, Birdman or Mystery Bird. What is the bird? Things like that. For the first week or two that it was out, Mothman didn't come around and stick until later. So they did. It was acknowledged that it was some kind of bird. Mountain monsters.
Those guys had a lot of funny episodes. Yeah, that's one of those pure entertainment channels. Okay, you just watch for the fun of it, and but there are people who thought that stuff is real, and I never quite understood that, but.
Did like the Beast of Bladenboro too. The big cat.
Oh,
like a giant black bobcat.
To bring up your favorite. What is your favorite cryptid?
Yeah, my favorite cryptid is the mystery black cats or mystery so there's two places this phenomenon mainly takes place. Well, three. I'll say three. In the UK. In the eastern United States and in Australia, and they see leopard-sized black cats on the prowl. Now, in the UK, what I love about it is that in the 1970s, they passed a law that said you had to register and pay all this expensive licensing and stuff to have exotic pets. Now, people had exotic pets for hundreds of years in the UK up until that point. So suddenly, all these menageries were released into the countryside because these people did, instead of there was the option to pay to rehome the animals, which was going to be expensive, or to license yourself to care for them and get your structures and stuff up to regulations, all this. So they instead decided to just release them into the British countryside. So for decades after that, I think it was 1972 when that law passed. For decades after that, people were shooting leopards and pumas and bobcats all over the UK. There were sightings. They're famous ones. The Beast of Bodenmore, the Beast of Exmoor, all these big black cats that people see. Now, up until the modern times, people still see black cats in the UK. But if you look at the footage that they show you, it's almost always like that's a house cat. That's a big black house cat, people. But in North America, in North America, there's an alternative phenomena, right? In North America, there's the notion of the black cougar, which does not exist. There's no such thing as a black mountain lion, cougar, puma, whatever you want to call them. There's all the same species. They have a huge range from South America through up through the Canadian Rockies and Alaska. They got a huge range. And they used to be in the eastern United States too, a subpopulation, but they were declared extinct in 2011. Unfortunately, the eastern cougar, which is the population that lives east of the Mississippi River, extinct, totally gone. The only subpopulation with the closest genetically related subpopulation is the Florida panther, and that's the only other subspecies that exist in North America, and they're isolated to Florida alone. But allegedly, among the eastern cougars, there was a melanistic gene that's vanished. Allegedly, because we don't know. We don't have any example of it. People see them. People report on them. Laura Ingalls Wilder, who wrote the Little House in the Prairie books, and her very first book, Little House in the Big Wood. In the Big Woods, she chronicles the story of her grandpa being pursued through the woods by a black panther, a black mountain lion, which is what the species would have been in that area of the country at that time. Right. So the idea that there was a black strain of these cats at some point in history was just common knowledge, and then nowadays there's no evidence at all that they ever existed in this color morph with this genetic strain, and it's such a subtle cryptid, but if it exists, it'd just be amazing. That's the reason I love them so much, is that's something that I think could exist out there, that there could be somewhere out there,
anomaly somewhere, a family. Yeah. If there's one, that means that there's some genetic marker that could be passed on, you know,
and all it would take is like one little gene to turn them black. Now the other place where there's sightings is much less plausible, and that is Australia, which is like the blue mountain panther and things like that, when it comes to Australia, what I'm all about is the thylacine sightings and stuff. I'm not very intrigued by their panther sightings, but their Tasmanian wolf sightings, especially in Tasmania, if they come from Tasmania, but from mainland Australia too. I am thrilled about that. I'm hopefully within my lifetime, I will be able to see Tasmanian wolf alive.
Do you know when the last sighting was of a thylacine?
I follow some channels on YouTube that have sightings from within the last few months. People are still reporting them.
Oh wow! Yep. Okay.
Yep, they have.
They're very unique looking. So if you see one, I don't see how that could be seen as, you know, a dingo or other wild dog or anything like that, because of that long snout that they have.
Well, they have a distinctive gait when they run too, which is becomes more like kangaroo-like as they move along high speeds.
Wow,
which is different than how how placental mammals generally run, how canids and stuff would run. Plenty of black panther in Victoria.
Yeah,
there's a lot of Tassie tigers and Vic. Those are one of my favorites too. I think that they're working on. They've been saying it since I was a kid, but they say they're working on bringing them back by cloning, and I would love to see that within my lifetime.
I have heard people saying that they're going to be bringing back the mammoths, bringing back
the dodo.
The dodo, right? And all these things. I don't know how smart that is.
How about bring back the black rhino, which just went extinct like a few years ago, and we got to have like the semen and stuff and eggs and stuff available, right? Why wouldn't you freeze that stuff if these animals are? But get me up on my soapbox about preserving ecology.
There's so many things that probably are a little bit more worthwhile, but I don't know. I just have a feeling there's another agenda behind all of that, and stems and all kinds of stuff. That's a whole different show in entirety, for sure.
Before we move on to anything else, I want to throw a couple of cryptids at you and see if you're familiar with them.
Okay, go.
Okay. Java Fofi.
No. What the heck is that?
It's a giant spider from the Congo.
Java Fofi?
Yeah.
I know Mokele Mumbembe. I know that one.
Same neighborhood. They're like neighbors.
Okay.
They live together, except for this is a giant spider. Okay, and then let's do Deloitte ape.
No.
Okay, so that was you've probably seen the picture and didn't even know what you were looking at. Let me let me see here. A Delois ape was in like the age of exploration, right? In the early 1900s when people were doing these great white hunters
I think I know what picture you're going to show. Is it the one where it's held up with the stick, the head?
Yeah, it's sitting on a tree stump or whatever. Yeah. You knew exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah. Right. I knew I had seen it, but I didn't know that was the name of it.
Yeah, so this is let me open it up here. Here we go. All right. So if anybody is familiar with this, there's some fun lore to this guy. So this explorer, he just had this he went up the Amazon, did the whole great white hunter thing, brought back his camera and was showing his pictures to one of his friends. And this guy that he showed it to was De Montana or something like that. But he was this like famous eugenicist who wanted to prove that humans were all descendant from separate lines of apes, and that humans were that Native Americans weren't humans because they were descendant from these, and that Asians were descendant from orangutans. Really, this awful racist idea, and this was his missing link to prove it. So the dude who took the picture didn't even make up stories about it. He's like, oh yeah, it was just a big monkey that we shot, but he went and ran with it and made this big story about it, and ended up creating this whole folklore around it with its own biological genomic name and everything. They call it Amaranthropoides loisii is the scientific name for it, and it's really just a spider monkey with his tail chopped off. It's just a weird tale of the racial notions attached to it make it kind of cringy, but
wow.
This has its place in history, I guess.
It does, and you see that picture pop up, every now and then when you're doing other searches, just like, oh yeah, but I never knew the history of it.
It's from the Amazon. It's the closest thing they have to a Bigfoot, but it's supposed to be
and not very
it's kind of
not very big. Great. So let me look in the chat. We got a good bunch of people in there. Finding Trackway. Hello, Track. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Once again, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop that in there full caps so I can find it. I don't think we've had any questions. They're talking back and forth on their own.
Yeah.
The chats take a whole life of their own.
Yeah, looks like there was some exploration about finding cougars in your area. Huh? Whenever I go on my computer, it tells me that there's white cougars waiting for me in this area.
So we are going to. Oh, you know what? I wonder if we should do this now because you had mentioned it earlier. You were like, "Oh, can we talk about the train sighting Bigfoot?"
Okay. Yes.
And I'm like, not again. Everybody's talking about it. And I covered it last week, and Universal covered it just a little while ago.
Everybody's covered it ad nauseum. I get it.
Right. But just so you know, and so that, you'll have the knowledge to spread it on when people are talking about it. But there was a group that are local to the area called Sasquatch Expedition Campers out of Silverton, Colorado. They quite often use a suit. Okay. This
suit right here?
Yeah, that one. They also put out a thing saying that we want to make it equivocally clear it wasn't us, but it just seems like something that these guys might do. They were in the right area, for everything. Now, this guy right here is another Colorado train that's about an hour away from Denver. They also have a Bigfoot on staff that surprises their tourists. while on the train. Could have been this guy's as well. But either way, it's pretty suspicious that it looks like a suit, you know, when it's walking.
It does look kind of like halfway between those two suits in it, but
yeah,
obviously the washed out here.
Yeah, yeah, right. As well
sorry.
as
can I apologize to your chat real quick? I'm sorry, guys. I know you all have probably been have had this rammed down your throat.
I know.
I do a more wide-reaching kind of show, so I haven't got a chance to talk about this particular topic yet. So Nikki's humoring me.
This whole area, this Silverton Durango line, they've even done where they put they had a UFO sighting from the train, okay, and it was a sighting, and this is it right there. You see the little, that's what they're calling a UFO, okay. Well, then shortly after that, they put a UFO in that field. After that, as advertising, and you know, so it just that's just it. That's just what you know,
advertising.
Yeah, it's all about that. So
come ride the train.
What happened? Thinker Thunker thinks it's real, so it must be.
I thought he said it wasn't real, and that the like used it to show that the Washington tape was real, or Washington video was real. But yeah,
I don't know. I stopped looking at his stuff unless it's something I'm going to that somebody else has brought up that I need to address. But other than that, killed by Bigfoot. Okay. What's next? I think I know what's next. It'll go. There you go. It is time for
Show me what you got.
Jim, you heard them said, show me what you got.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
So, what do we got this week? Let's take a look. Now, in a bunch of Facebook groups, we are starting to see this video that I'm going to show you. And let me bring that up for you. Oops, that's not the right one. They all got mixed up on me, sorry. I think it's this one. Okay, here we go. It doesn't need the audio, so don't worry about that. But what you see is this Bigfoot, right? Supposedly throwing crap at whoever that is.
Interesting. Chucking a log, huh?
Right. If you look real careful, if you can blow it up on your own, this is about as far as I blew it up on here. It just looks like a ghillie suit. This one really does look like a ghillie suit because it hangs off the arm.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll just go ahead and show this and let people make up their own minds. But it looks like a suit. There was nothing about it other than while out hunting or something. This was captured, blah, 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 right? The same story. And then I went to another group, and there was this photo.
Oh.
Okay. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's the same with a totally different story. Okay. And they grabbed the photo and they got the picture of the guy's face, because the first thing I noticed was that bouffant hairdo, right?
That's him doing that, like chucking that, and the hair goes whoosh.
Right. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, this is the same photo, but somebody got a screen grab and and posted this one. People loving it, saying, oh my God, you can see his face so clear. And I'm like, you know what? You really can see his face pretty clear. I'm wondering if we can go back and really get that face and find who hoaxed this whole thing.
The proportions don't seem outside of human proportions on the face to me. I would expect
Oh
to
yeah,
see
no,
more
it looks
distinct
fine.
Sasquatch-like features.
Right. So I don't know. I'm gonna try to do that. Not right now. I don't know when, because I got to get that Halloween show going. But I'm gonna make this a little project. See if I can pull the face out of that photo right there, and see if we can track down. See if we can track down who's in that mess right there. Because I don't think he made it to the hair salon that day. For sure.
Yeah.
But look out, people. This
Watch
one
out for
has
this guy
Bigfoot
chucking
sauce.
logs at you.
Yeah, he's gonna chuck a log. What do we got in the chat? They're saying this one has Bigfoot sauce and cougar spray all over it. I agree. I agree. Brent Vault will be saying he was on recon when this happened. That's kind of an inside joke if you know who Vault is and stuff, but that's hilarious.
Different Brent than the tall one?
No, yeah, Brent. Donald is talking to Brent about Vault.
Yeah.
So
gotcha.
Yeah, that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the next thing that is out there, and this comes from Paranormal Connections. And I don't know if any of you had heard the story of this guy who came in and found a pig cut in half. There is a video. It is not any blood, so I'm gonna go ahead and show the.
Ooh. Okay.
And
this is a footprint that they found on site, I guess.
Yeah, and you'll see it in the actual photo here. Let me just make this bigger.
No, just put my boot next to it. Fucking rip clean in half, and then this next to it.
Got a good shot of it. That might be a better one there.
And it's going up the hill.
Why would it just leave the pig, though?
I'm burying him. It's only 2 print. Yeah, that's right. What about up there? What's up there? Oh, that's not it. Yes, sir. Well, you can see where something's dragged it down there. I didn't look to see if the other one was still up there.
Where's this?
So here we go.
Queensland, Australia?
Queensland, Australia. So originally people thought this came from the North-South Wales area of Australia, but information was just put out that from Queensland. My nephew who sent it to me was working on the Adani Rail project in central Queensland between Glendon and west of Claremont when they were building the railway line, which is over 300 kilometers. When they rocked up at work and off the access track, they found drag marks. So the guys followed it for about a few hundred meters, following the drag marks, which came out from the bush, and followed it where they came across the pig, which had been torn completely in half, like nothing they'd ever seen before. And the footprints, which went, I'm trying to read what they exact said, which went back into bush. So it had been torn apart a bit back up the track before being left where it lay. This was a long way from town and the camps along the railway's access. It had happened overnight because the day before a grader had been grading through the area. That's why the footprints were clear. The land there were going through the project was Birragubba traditional owners, and parts of it were sacred sites. And the indigenous guys working on the project said they could feel something watching them. Also, a lot of other things did happen on this project too. A roller operator was rolling the formation and reversing back. He seen the rear vision mirror, an Aboriginal lady carrying her baby walk her baby walk out in the mirror behind the machine. He stopped the machine in a hurry. When he turned around, there was no one there. He jumped out, checked around the machine, and this was straight up the 1st in the morning, but couldn't see no one. And this was the start of the day shift. The project was over 300 miles, 300 kilometers in the middle of nowhere. Others had seen min lights dancing along the access road, strange noises at night in the camps, even things coming to visit them in their rooms of the camps, to which there were 6 times 500 men camps made along the project, just placed out in the middle of nowhere. A lot of the indigenous guys that worked on the project said they could feel the place was very spiritual, but that is where the video comes from, at Danny Rail Project, Central Queensland. That was hard to read because it was messed up.
Min lights are a phenomena in the outback that just strange lights seen in the distance. So like ghost lights, like the Joplin lights.
So that's pretty interesting. They acted like, kind of surprised, normal. I didn't get an impression that they were laughing about it or trying to do a script about, what they were going to say. Let me see. I was going to get rid of some of these things I've got up here.
Those footprints, though, look like the same kind of footprints that people used to use to hoax Bigfoot footprints back in the 60s. The giant cast footprints.
There is another video. I did go to these guys' site, the Paranormal Connection. I didn't find one on YouTube, but as I'm looking through their Facebook, they have another video, and they're saying while scaring up a pig, you see something go out, get spooked out of the brush and run off. It's super hard to see. I don't know if even if I played it here, you guys would be able to see it. If you want me to show it, I will. Because it was just a little bit, it was right here. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. This one.
Here, Oscar, here. Oscar, get on. Oh, he's a big fella.
Okay, off up there, you see something kind of. I think it was something else. I really want to analyze this video a little bit. It's either
back. Oscar, they're behind you.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Oscar,
up and I think it's just
Oscar, get on. Oh, he's a big fella.
Maybe it's a big leaf or something, and we're seeing it close.
I see it though. I see it though. But I don't know what to make of it.
That whole pareidolia thing where he's moving and this leaf is closer to us than we think, and it's kind of giving it a movement.
It could be
something.
A bird taking flight and turning
so many different things.
Or turning vertically too.
Let me see if I can find
a freeze frame of where it is.
Because see right here, okay, it starts right there. And then it's moving. And continually moving to that side. And now it looks like it's reaching that tree. And like maybe it's climbing the tree. I don't know.
I can't think of what would climb the tree that fast. And
I don't know. I don't know. I could be wrong. It could be totally something walking off or being scared off. But it happens super fast.
Get on, Oscar.
So I'm sure we've got people out there who might be able to,
well,
really take that
we're at an hour and 30 minutes. You want to open it up and see if some peeps want to come in and hang out with us?
Oh, sure.
Maybe they have some thoughts on this stuff. I don't mean to throw your schedule off or anything. You got more?
No, we're still going good, and I don't think I have that too Copy that link. If anybody'd like to join us for this last half hour, showing a few more things, you guys are welcome to join us for the conversation, whatever you want to talk about. There is the link in the chat. Just go ahead and come on and say hi to Bree. She's been a great guest. I love it. She's got so much information.
And I'm a big skeptical naturalist person. So you got like evidence you want me to look at and I thumb my nose at? No, not really. But if you want something to bring to my attention, please do, because I'm always looking for evidence to change my mind. Things like Bigfoot, I don't want to not believe that Bigfoot's real. I would love to be wrong, right? I would love to be like, you were wrong. You thought this whole thing was a hoax, but nope, it's real. It turned out to be real. But you know, it is what it is. I've had my experiences. I've compared them to other people's experiences in the world, and kind of made my inferences that way. I spent a lot of time I did a lot of paranormal investigations when I was younger, ghost hunting and that sort of stuff. I was a fan of. Not so much anymore. Now I'm more looking for the natural explanation for some of these things, especially like sea monsters and stuff. I'd love to.
Do you believe in mermaids?
Do I believe in mermaids? No, but that'd be kind of cool too if those were real.
What about a tree octopus?
Well, those are proven, right? Yeah,
they're trying to get proven. Yeah.
The Pacific Northwest, the tree octopus. They're food for Sasquatch. Yeah.
They got to eat something, right?
Yeah, that's why. Sure. That's why we got to keep tree octopus populations at a stable level. Because if you don't have the tree octopus to eat, what are they gonna starve? I don't want to be responsible for that.
We'll see if Melba Ketchum can start obtaining samples for that here pretty soon.
Oh my gosh! I remember when she was the savior of the Bigfoot community, Melba Ketchum. Yeah, that she was going to be the one to prove once and for all, scientifically, that Bigfoot exists. And it's like, well, did she though?
Did she really? I don't know.
I do like listening to her talk because she's got that Texas grandma voice, but yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Melba will prove it.
Oops.
Are camel spiders man-eaters? What? No, camel spiders, even the ones that you see the videos of, that's forced perspective. They don't get about that big.
Yeah.
They don't have any venom either. True. So
they're still really mean, though. They do chase people around.
They want to stand in your shadow. Usually, is why they chase you, though.
Really?
They want to be in the shade. That. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you ever see one chasing you, just stand still. It'll stop chasing. That's why people freak out, because they'll be like walking and it'll start following them to stay in the shadow.
That's pretty hard to not get away from one of those things. I don't think I would be able to stop running.
That's the thing too. They walk in and they look back and it's following them. They start walking a little bit faster. It starts following faster. They take off running. It does its tumble thing. Because you ever see one of them run? They do this cartwheel thing and they come try to keep up with you.
That's crazy.
That's where they get the folk. Cool. That's where they get this folklore that they kill camels too, or they hunt and kill camels because they follow the camels through the desert like that. It's like, obviously these spiders are hunting the camels, right?
Oh my goodness. Well, let's see what we've got next. Our favorite RMSO, Rocky Mountain Sasquatch, is promoting this photo here of Bigfoot in Monte Cristo Mountains. I believe he's done it before. Now he went to go check this area out and supposedly found some footprints. I don't know. Maybe some of you want to go check that out on his channel. I don't really support that channel, but I think this is kind of a ridiculous suit picture here. I mean, you can even see like blonde hair there. I don't know. It just does not seem right.
Looks like the Wookiee costumes from Star Trek. Or not Star Trek,
It
Star
kind of
Wars.
does.
Yeah.
It kind of does for sure. And oh, it's time for a little So what do we got in the news today? Not a whole lot, because guess what? There was still the freaking train Bigfoot everywhere in the news.
All anybody's talking about.
Oh my gosh. So this is just a little bit hilarious, because this actually is about Bigfoot sets a record straight after the Colorado sightings. So this does have to do with that infamous train Bigfoot, but it was hilarious, and I want you guys to check this one out. You can find the link in my description, and I'm only going to play you a little bit, because this is you have to listen to it type thing. And let me pull this up. I hope I hit the audio on that. So it's an interview of Bigfoot.
Weekend edition from CPR News and KRCC.
You guys hearing that okay?
Yeah,
another
I can.
sighting, and it happened right here in Colorado. A husband and wife claimed they spotted the elusive beast while they were taking a train ride through the Rockies. Was it really Sasquatch? Well, this morning, for the first time ever, Bigfoot himself opens up in an exclusive interview. He spoke with me from San Juan County.
Actually, I'm at a bed and breakfast, quaint little place outside of Silverton.
Okay, that sounds nice.
Yes, the zucchini bread is quite delicious.
I got to ask you, before we go any further, you come across as very educated, highly educated and articulate. I think that might surprise a lot of people who might think that Bigfoot may just be some big guy who growls all the time.
Well, indeed. I mean, that is in our nature, of course, but I did study at Juilliard, so there's a little bit of the stage that never quite leaves one's confidence. You can even say perhaps the world is my stage at this moment, or particularly, usually just a forest.
Okay. Well, you made national headlines recently. A couple took a video of a large, hairy creature walking alongside a hillside south of Silverton. I got to ask you, let's set the record straight. Was it you?
Indeed, it was.
Okay. What are you doing here in Colorado?
What am I? What are any of us doing here, Vic? It's Colorado. Jeez.
So you get the idea of the whole conversation. It's like 6 minutes long, but it's hilarious. And go listen to it. It's funny. And like I said, descriptions down below.
Yeah, there's like there's no other news about Bigfoot on the docket at all since that came out, right? You can't discuss
it's
Bigfoot
like,
this week.
It's completely taken over. It has taken over. And I don't know what we're going to do. What are we going to do? We just have to wait for the next stupid thing to come up and
die back at least.
Right. It was pretty thin, like I'm saying, the news for this week. We did have another CPR news, Bigfoot. Do you believe? One Colorado museum wants to know. And this whole story goes on. About a decade ago, Jim and Daphne Myers opened a small grocery store in Bailey, Colorado, about an hour west of Denver, just off of US Highway 285. Business was slow from the start. Foot traffic was hard to come by in the town, or just a couple of thousand people. After about 2 years, we realized the store was not going to work, Myers called. We were the ones eating all the groceries. But what Myers lacked in hungry customers, he made up for in a corner of the store dedicated to his personal passion. It was called Sasquatch Outpost, and shoppers could put a pin on a map to document where they had seen the famous cryptid Bigfoot. So we made a decision. It was critical, risky decision to go all the way with Bigfoot. Today, the Sasquatch Outpost is the main attraction. The bread and eggs are gone. Bigfoot paraphernalia, including t-shirts, magnets, shot glasses, and a wide array of Sasquatch documentaries roll. So there's your CPR news about Sasquatch outpost in Bailey, Colorado.
All right. I got a news article I'm sharing too. You want to pull that up?
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and do this one too.
Sure.
Do a trifecta of news stories.
Absolutely. There you go.
All right. Meet Daniel Barnett, a 14-year-old who is quickly becoming one of the most famous Bigfoot hunters in the UK. Daily Star, Nottingham Post, and Wales Online. We found out about him after he recently reached out to the SGS with a very unusual request. Daniel runs a podcast in which he discusses mythical creatures like Bigfoot. He also sets out camera traps in the local forest and goes on expeditions in search of large tracks. Daniel emailed us and wrote, I collected soil samples from the tracks, and I would love if you could do a DNA testing on them. eDNA analysis, SGS, offered DNA testing for various sectors, but the most appropriate technology here involved environmental DNA. eDNA is the genetic material that organisms shed into the environment. It can be used to identify species in various environments and is ideal for finding elusive and rare animals. I was struck by the fact that this 14-year-old had made a link that eDNA could maybe also be used to find the most elusive creature of them all, Bigfoot, says Willem van Strijn, innovation manager at the SGS Global Bioscience Center. Daniel appeared to be so enthusiastic about the topic and really showed he was embracing science on his quest to get to the bottom of this. As at SGS, we are genuinely passionate about supporting youngsters like Daniel who are dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge and discovery. We therefore decided to support the request, contacted the family, and told them we would pick up and analyze the samples at no cost. So did we detect Bigfoot? Well, that unfortunately still remains a mystery. The samples we received were soil samples with small parts of leaf litter collected from the prints. Our team had to push some of the extraction methods to the limits with the limitation of the volume of the sample. However, we did manage to get enough DNA and some solid species detection. We detected eastern gray squirrel, the common pheasant, and also as various large mammals like roe deer, wild boar, European badgers, and Homo sapiens, humans, that could have left the tracks. But we also classified some DNA sequences in the family Hominidae, the taxonomic group to which humans belong, and Cercopithecidae, the family of old world apes. Those last two classifications obviously triggered some speculation. However, Vanessa Louise, chief molecular scientist at GBC, explained it is not actually possible to identify Bigfoot via eDNA without a previous reference in the genetic database. For that, one needs to have a tissue sample to extract DNA from to then barcode. Unfortunately, no confirmed DNA sequence of Bigfoot exists in the barcode reference database. So, how should you interpret our results? As explained, although detecting the Bigfoot species may not be possible, with eDNA, we can usually match DNA sequences to higher taxonomic levels like genus or family. We classify our DNA sequences to higher taxonomic levels. If we cannot get a species match but have a higher confidence than DNA sequences belongs to a certain family group or a group of species, this happens if reference barcodes do not exist, but also if the DNA we collect from the samples has been degraded and thus no longer matches barcodes in our database. Sometimes this degraded DNA can also lead to misannotations and matches with other species or families. This is a key aspect one needs to understand about eDNA. Although some of the risk of degradation can be mitigated during the sampling and through sample preservation, eDNA is a very powerful tool, but there is some limitation. That's why we make sure that through our reporting, we highlight these aspects and mention those taxonomic classifications that need to be treated with care. All right, so
that's great. Yeah,
yeah.
I had heard about that, Daniel over there in the UK, and more power to him. I'm glad he found some people that support him. He has a lot of people here in the US that support him and have given him encouragement, and I think that's great. So more power to you, Daniel. For sure, for sure. What did I have? Oh, lastly on the news, movieweb.com came out with the 10 best Bigfoot documentaries of all time. And I have to say, I don't agree. I didn't agree with any of them, but I'm going to give them to you because that's the news. So coming in at number 10 was Bigfoot, Man or Beast, 1970. Number 9 was Expedition Bigfoot 2019 to current. And that is not even a documentary. That's a TV series. And they had it listed. So that threw me way off. 8 was In Search of Bigfoot 1976.
That should have been number 1 right there. That's the classic. That's what got me hooked on Bigfoot when I was little.
Yeah. That's one of the goodies, right there. Number 7
Leonard
came
Nimoy.
Chasing. Yeah, of course.
Kicking out the jams.
That's everybody's. Chasing Bigfoot, The Quest for the Truth, 2015. Hunting Bigfoot, 2021. I never saw that one, so I don't know about that one. Bigfoot, The Legend is Real, from 2020. Sasquatch, 2021. The Mysterious Monsters, 1975. Bigfoot, Fear in the Woods, 2020, from Discovery Channel. And The Legend of Bigfoot, the Ivan Marks one that I have on my channel. If you'd like to go down and check that one out. That I think was okay, being that one. But anyway, there you go. That's what they had listed.
What would be your number 1? Just your number 1.
My number, probably, I really did like The Legend of Bigfoot, Ivan Marks. It's a classic. Even though he was, brought on as a hoaxer later on, it was still a good flick, to bring into the.
Does Legend of Boggy Creek count as a documentary? I
think it's just a movie.
I
don't know. This whole thing was messed up because they had all kinds of different things in it. So yeah, Legend of Boggy Creek. That's another really popular one that brought people into the field.
Classic, yeah.
Yeah, classic. One of those that people will look back on for sure. For sure.
It has some jams if you're into bluegrass music. Go check it out too. Good. They got a rock and jam about Travis Crabtree. So
I have a few things, folks. A few things about being on the lookout for, and that is Sasquatch Odyssey podcast, hosted by Brian King Sharp. He is back from Canada visiting Todd Standing. So coming back to Todd Standing, he has now put out 3, maybe even 4, 3 videos, short videos about his time he spent up there with Standing. I highly suggest you go watch those. I haven't seen that last one. I got a little busy, but we need to know what's going on up there, right? And I feel like Brian King is going to give us the lowdown. So there you go. Go watch Sasquatch Odyssey. Check out what's happening. And lastly, over there, I've got next Sunday, wear your costume. That'll be your entry into the show. Sasquatch Secrets Squatchoween show next Sunday. Should have a blast. Now I am going to be changing some stuff up. Not as many costume changes. I think I had over 20 costume changes in 2 hours. It was way too much. I was exhausted. It was fun, but I can't really run a show when I'm running back and forth. So we're going to kind of have to step back from all those costumes again. I'll pick a couple of good ones to wear, some of my classics. So that'll be fun. So everybody's invited. Y'all know who you are. Just grab a costume, and I will be sending out those invites and links to the show later on in the week. So to end the show, though, we had a rough week. You know, we all had a really rough week, and I left this for the end in case I broke down. But we did lose Joseph Snyder, Western New York Bigfoot. That ugly fuck cancer. Okay, say it right here. Took a great man, and we're all gonna miss him. We're gonna miss him a lot, all of us. He got into our hearts, and that won't ever go away because he's all around me all the time. I have his stuff. He's around. He's going to be around for all of us. And we're going to be okay, because I think we're going to pull together. And if anybody ever needs to talk to me, I'm always here. And I thought I was okay, but, you know, he keeps coming up on my mind. But I really want to say that I love you all. You guys are all inspirations to me. I find you all amazing for supporting me for so long, and you've made my channel a place where I look forward to go. And I appreciate all of you a whole bunch. So in a little bit, we're going to bring him on to close the show. But for right now, Miss Bure, thank you so much for coming and sharing time with me today. I appreciate it. Once again, everybody, Hive Science, subscribe.
This is at Hive Science everywhere. If you're on Twitter, if you're on X, if you're or whatever, if you're on Blue Sky, I'm Instagram, I'm HiveSci on all of those. I'm pretty active on most social medias. Sometimes some places I do more bug content, and some places I do more cryptid and content and stuff. So it really depends on where you're following. Like Instagram, I post a lot more bug stuff. But anyway, follow me anywhere, and anywhere you find me. And yeah, I did get a chance to meet your friend there, I think, a couple of times on some panels, I believe. Yeah, before.
Probably. So I'm sure. It was devastating to all of us because it happened so fast. You know, none of us you're never ready for anything like that. But he's not in pain anymore, and we shouldn't either. And as soon as Molly's ready, probably right here after Halloween, we're going to do a celebration of life here on the channel, and we'll bring everybody on, and it'll all be good stuff. So thanks again, Bree. I will see you soon. I'm going to put you in the back, darling, and I'm going to bring this show to an end. So good night. So everybody, thanks again for coming, and I'm going to allow Joe to sign us off.
So laugh at the funny stuff. And so I hope you guys in chat had a good time. Thank you for joining me this afternoon.
Sorry.
I hope everybody has a good Saturday. And, you know, like I say, don't sweat the petty stuff and don't pet the sweaty stuff. And we will see you from the forest eventually. All right. Let's all laugh at the funny stuff. So I hope you guys in chat had a good time.